The IRS already knows which account you're going to pick, and they're quietly rooting for you to choose the one that pays them more. Before we get into the math, let me ask you a simple question. When do you want to pay the IRS? Today, when you know exactly what the tax rate is, or decades from now, when tax rates could be anything? Because that question is the entire foundation of this decision, and once you understand it, everything else becomes obvious. Here is the basic setup. A traditional 401k lets you contribute money before taxes are taken out of your paycheck. That feels great right now because your taxable income drops and you keep more money in the short term. But here is the catch. Every single dollar sitting in that 401k account has a silent business partner waiting patiently in the background. That partner is the IRS, and they are coming to collect when you start taking money out in retirement. You do not know yet exactly what percentage they will take, but they will take something. A Roth IRA works the opposite way. You put in money that has already been taxed, so there is no immediate benefit to your paycheck today. But here is the beautiful part. Once that money is inside the Roth IRA and it grows, the government has absolutely no claim on it. When you pull it out in retirement, it is entirely yours, every single dollar. Now let us make this real with some actual numbers so you can see why this matters so much. Imagine two people, both 28 years old, both earning $75,000 a year, both disciplined enough to set aside $500 every month for retirement. The only difference is where that money goes. The first person puts their $500 into a 401k through their employer, and their company happens to offer a 50% match on contributions up to 6% of salary. That means every month they are contributing $500, and the employer is kicking in roughly $187 on top. Their effective monthly retirement contribution is closer to $687. Plus, since the 401k contribution comes out before taxes, it costs them less out of pocket in real terms because of the immediate tax savings. The second person puts $500 a month into a Roth IRA with no employer match. No tax break today. The money comes straight out of their take-home pay after taxes are already withheld. On day one, the 401k person looks like they are winning easily. Free money from the employer, an immediate tax advantage, lower out-of-pocket cost per dollar saved. If you stop the comparison right here, it would not even be close. But you cannot stop here, because retirement is not about how good your account looks at 28. It is about how much you actually keep when you are 65. Fast forward 10 years. The 401k holder has contributed their $500 plus the employer match for a decade. Total contributions, including the match, land around $82,000, and at a 7% average annual return, the balance sits at roughly $114,000. The Roth IRA holder has contributed $500 a month with no match for 10 years. Total contributions of $60,000, and at the same 7% return, the balance is around $86,000. On paper, the 401k person is ahead by nearly $28,000. Anyone would look at that and say the 401k is winning. But here is what the balance comparison hides. That $114,000 401k balance is not fully the account holder's money. At a realistic effective tax rate of around 24% in retirement, that balance is actually worth closer to $86,000 after the IRS takes their share. The Roth IRA balance of $86,000 is untouched. No tax liability attached to it whatsoever. Suddenly, those two accounts look nearly identical in real purchasing power. And here is something else the balance comparison misses. The Roth IRA offers flexibility that the 401k simply cannot match. With a Roth, you can withdraw the money you personally contributed, not the earnings, just your actual contributions, at any time without penalty. If you face a serious financial emergency, you have access to that money. With a traditional 401k, pulling money out before age 59.5 means income taxes plus a 10% early withdrawal penalty. That flexibility is not a line on any spreadsheet, but it has genuine real-world value. Now let us jump forward all the way to retirement at age 65. After 37 years of contributing, the 401k holder with the employer match has accumulated a balance of roughly $1.6 million. That number looks extraordinary. But after factoring in taxes at a blended effective rate of around 24%, the real after-tax value drops to approximately $1.23 million. The Roth IRA holder contributed only their own $500 a month with no match for those same 37 years and ended up with around $1.17 million. Every dollar of that is completely tax-free. So the 401k person ends up with a higher gross balance because of the employer match. But on a pure after-tax basis, the gap shrinks dramatically. And if the 401k holder did not have an employer match, the Roth IRA would come out clearly ahead in real after-tax dollars. But the story does not end there, because there is one more thing the 401k hits you with that most people completely overlook: required minimum distributions. Starting at age 73, the government forces traditional 401k holders to withdraw a minimum amount every single year based on their account balance and life expectancy. This is not optional. You cannot leave the money sitting there. And if your account has grown significantly, those required withdrawals can push you into higher tax brackets, increase the taxes on your Social Security benefits, and potentially raise your Medicare premiums. The government wants that money, and they built a mandatory withdrawal schedule to make sure they get it. The Roth IRA has zero required minimum distributions during the account holder's lifetime. None. You can leave every dollar sitting there growing for as long as you want. You can pass it to your children. You stay in complete control of when and how you access your money. Now, there is one more major risk hiding inside the traditional 401k that nobody likes to talk about, and it has nothing to do with your personal situation. Tax rates themselves could change. Nobody actually knows what federal income tax rates will look like 20 or 30 years from now. Historically, rates have been significantly higher than they are today. When you contribute to a traditional 401k, you are essentially making a bet that your future tax rate will be lower than your current rate. When you contribute to a Roth IRA, you lock in today's rate and eliminate that uncertainty entirely. Given where government debt levels are heading, locking in a known tax rate right now is not a bad idea at all. However, I want to be completely honest about where the 401k wins, because it absolutely does win in some situations. The employer match is the single most powerful argument for using a 401k. A guaranteed 50 or even 100% return on your contribution before the market does anything is something no other investment strategy can reliably replicate. Walking away from a full employer match to prioritize a Roth IRA is genuinely one of the most expensive mistakes a saver can make. The match always has to come first. The 401k also wins on contribution limits. In 2025, you can put up to $23,500 into a 401k annually. The Roth IRA limit is $7,000. For high earners who want to shelter large amounts of income from taxes right now, the 401k offers far more capacity. And if you are currently in a very high tax bracket, like 32 or 37%, and you genuinely expect to be in a much lower bracket in retirement, the math can favor deferring those taxes with a traditional account. Also worth knowing, Roth IRAs have income limits. If you are a single filer earning above certain thresholds, your ability to contribute to a Roth phases out and eventually disappears entirely. The 401k has no income limit for contributions, which makes it the only direct option for very high earners without doing what is called a backdoor Roth conversion. So here is the strategy that actually makes the most sense for most people, and it is not picking one over the other. It is using both in the right order. Step one is always to contribute to your 401k up to the full employer match. This is non-negotiable. Free money with a guaranteed return is the best move in personal finance, period. Step two is to take any remaining savings and max out your Roth IRA. If you are early in your career and in a lower tax bracket, locking in tax-free growth right now is enormously valuable because compound interest has decades to work in your favor. Step three, if you still have money left to save after maxing the Roth IRA, go back and contribute more to your 401k up to the annual limit. Following this sequence, capturing the employer match, maximizing the Roth, then continuing in the 401k, will produce the best after-tax outcome for most people across most income levels and most career trajectories. The bottom line here is simple. The 401k balance that looks bigger on paper is not necessarily worth more. You do not retire on your gross account balance. You retire on your after-tax income, and the account that gives you the most control over your tax situation when you actually need the money is almost always the one that wins in the real world. Do not answer the Roth versus 401k question fast. Understand what you are actually choosing between a tax break today or a tax break later, and then make the decision that fits your specific situation. Because the right answer is the one that puts the most money in your pocket when it counts.